Now the Hyundai Sonata has this a little annoying play right in the center of the steering, so you need to correct it oftentimes. Just a little bit of turn like this as you go in a straight line. It's just a center play that is not related to any kind of wear because this car has very low miles, but it's a play in the control arm bushing. So the Hyundai puts those bushing with a little bit of gap. Perhaps it's to preserve the geometry or for some other reasons, but let me just perhaps share with you a small trick that you can do to get rid of this center play without basically spending any money. This is the front suspension, is the right side of the car, but I'll do the same thing on the left side, just on the front wheels. This is the control arm, rear bushing on the control arm. If you look closely, as far as I can film this bushing is not a full bushing. It has a gap on this side and it has a gap on the other side as well. It's a very small gap, but that's what creates that movement. And I have here a tiny piece of plastic. I would say is perhaps 1 millimeter thick, a piece of plastic, and I did smear with some synthetic grease. It's going to slide much easier in there, but be sure to use only something synthetic because anything else will attack the rubber. And I'm going to try to slide it in here. Plastic makes easy because you can bend it a little bit and force it in there. Okay, that should be it. I don't need to really put anything. It will stay in place. It's long enough. Did you notice it was long? So it just drop in there, stand there. It may move a little bit. Wide, I would say put it something like 1 inch wide. Don't need to be more wider than that. And that's all I will do. Again, there is another gap on the other side of the bushing. I cannot reach it unless you have the control arm completely removed from the car, but even this is going to just remove all that tiny play, that gap. And again, this is just a hole here, a hole on the other side. If you see as much as the light can show you, this is full part of the bushing. I can touch it. It's full rubber here. Only here and on the other side there is a gap, and this gap, if you look carefully, it's at an angle. Is north towards the front of the car or towards the side of the car. Is like 45 degrees, and that will give it a little bit of play transversally, the length of the car, and on the sides of the car, and that gives that kind of loose in the steering. Let's just try to drive the car and see how it goes. Okay, so these are the results. All that adjustment, constant adjustment, is gone, and it just drives straight. You can obviously you still need to keep your hand on the steering. Obviously, there's no Tesla self-pilot or whatever they call it, but that movement at the center, it's completely gone. So check my hand, how it stays. Right now I'm in a bend, road bend. I'm in a highway, by the way. You see, I'm no longer adjusting it like I was doing before, like that. It's just, and it's not exactly a very nice surface of the road. Quick word on the plastic insert. So this is what I used, and it's a softer plastic, and that makes it easier to insert. However, I did notice that that bushing has such a pressure, so it's just from the movement of the car, but there's a lot of forces going on there. It actually did crush this plastic. It made it slimmer, thinner. So it's really up to you to maybe to put something that you think it stays there and it will last for a while. I ended up getting another piece of plastic, and this one is stiff plastic. It's a little bit thicker, but it's up to you to get the right thickness. But this one did stay well in place, and I believe this is from, I think I found a piece of plastic on a street. Was ripped from maybe the side molding on a car, something like that, if I remember well. but again, this is a stiff plastic and this did work better. Okay, so this is it. I think it's I don't know, at least on my vehicle, which had only 30,000 miles, 50,000 kilometers on it, it did help remove that slack in the steering. It's just a big difference. It is not perfect. I think the best would be to be able to put these inserts on both sides of the bushing, but it's extremely difficult to remove the control arm on these cars. It's really difficult. You need at least two persons, but it's a lot of work. That axle nut, you need to, if you remove it, you need to put it back at the correct tension, otherwise it will destroy a well bearing. So it's a lot of work to access the other side of the bushing, but even on the front side, it will make that difference that you really need. And I warmly recommend you this model. Thanks for watching.